All right, thank you everyone for joining. We have quite a big audience today, so we're going to give it a few more minutes for everyone to log in. I would say 3 or 4 more minutes, and we'll begin. If you're just joining us, we're going to give it a few more minutes to let everyone get in. We have a big audience today. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Seems like we have majority of the audience here. My name is Seth Fike. I am going to be talking about some of the new features coming to Manufacturing 100, that being features that are included now on the latest update, as well as some of the functionality that is coming end of this month, so actually probably early next week. I am a software specialist here at Scanco, primarily in the current customer side. So let's kind of jump into it. Talk a little bit about Scanco if you're unfamiliar with us. We've been around since 1989. Scanco has been a leading provider of supply chain automation, specifically in that warehouse and manufacturing solution. So if you do have a distribution need, we have a huge suite for that as well. Today we're going to be talking about that manufacturing side. But from basic barcoding companies to really complex distributors, as well as manufacturing, we can automate all of them. We've actually acquired companies to allow us to be a one-stop shop for most businesses to be able to come to us with whatever they have and whatever the needs are. Going through the agenda today, just to kind of make sure that we stay on track, we're going to talk about the Manufacturing 100 piece as a whole. We have about 10, 15 minutes split out today. It's probably going to go closer to that 15 to 20, to be honest, because I will be demoing as well. We're going to talk about some of the Manufacturing 100 differences. We're going to have that demo as I just alluded to, and then kind of what we're cooking, what's coming up in the next release, some of the key features that I think everyone's going to be really excited for. So Manufacturing 100, what is it? Manufacturing 100 is a mobile application for data collection on an iOS, Android, or a desktop device. It is the replacement for WOScan and JOScan, if you're familiar with them. The one big thing I wanted to point out is this was actually developed in 2018. This is not a new solution. So this is something for us that we've been able to work out in the last couple years to add features and functionality to. The key features that you're going to notice are going to be the tracking labor, material issues, what we're now calling parts usage, those completions, which we're calling make to stock, and then also the status changes is something that's new and available now. Again, we're a mobile application on an iOS or Android device, but if you have a desktop unit and you're using something like a wedge scanner, we are also compatible with that. To drive home, the real-time integration, that's the big piece that's different with Manufacturing 100. When we think about JOScan and WOScan, we got rid of that SQL Server, so that means there's that 5-minute sync that you used to have. That is no longer. We are true real-time when it comes to data collection on the floor for this solution. Lastly, Manufacturing 100 does have a dashboard that sits outside of Sage. This allows you to see what's going on throughout your warehouse without being in Sage and without being on the old JOScan or WOScan dashboard. Just to kind of give you some idea of the compatibility, I know these questions have been coming up to me, so I wanted to let everyone know. We are compatible with 2019 Product Update 2. If you're on JOScan now and you're moving to 2019, you will be moved to Manufacturing 100. JOScan will not be compatible with 2019. It is iOS, Android, and Windows based. So if you are using a Windows mobile scanner, you're going to have to upgrade your hardware. Windows Mobile is now end of life, so this will not be compatible with that. To kind of back up and go and talk about the versions, if you are on 2018.2 or up on an older version of Sage for job ops, we are compatible with that. So it's kind of some more information for you to have. And then how do we upgrade it? Another question that I get a lot. Upgrading to Manufacturing 100 is actually free if you own WOScan or JOScan. We give you the solution for free, and then the install and training, that is what that upfront cost is. The reason for this is we want to make sure that you're familiar with a new solution. There's a lot of differences that you're going to notice. So we want to make sure that you're trained up on it, and then we want to make sure you're installed correctly on it. So one of the highlights of Manufacturing 100 is the new dashboard. We actually leverage the Scanco warehouse dashboard, if you're familiar with it. This sits outside of Sage, and it is not licensed. This means you can have it on the shop floor, and you can have it on 10 other computers. You can have a manager sitting in the office. It's a one-time purchase, or excuse me, it's free. So it's a one-time license, and you own as many as you want. Again, we sit outside of Sage. But a nice feature is this auto send or review. So this means if you don't want it to go straight into Sage and you want someone to be able to review the data before it's going into Sage, we give you that option to be able to go look, make sure everything is correct, what's happening on the floor, and then send it through over to Sage. A real-time view of what's happening in your manufacturing process. Again, this is the idea to be able to have that high-level manager's point of view of what's going on at any time in real time. Some of the benefits of Manufacturing 100. First of all, we're leveraging that Scanco web portal. Again, if you're familiar with our warehouse application, this is a web-based portal where you set up your user profiles. This means that every single user is going to have their own profile, and we can get specific to whatever they need. Some can have different options available, whether it's allowing over completions and things of that nature. So we can kind of lock down different profiles depending on the permissions. Does not require a Sage 100 user's license. Another question I get all the time, we do not require a Sage license. No more SQL Server. We touched on this a little bit. We are not hitting that SQL Server again. We're eliminating that delay, that 5-minute delay that I'm sure JOScan and WOScan users are familiar with, that kind of would cause inventory not to be truly live. Now we are true real time. Eliminating data entry is kind of the entire idea of a mobile solution like this, to be able to capture data on the floor rather than having that paper chasing, as we call it, throughout the warehouse or the manufacturing facility. And then that easy migration path from WOScan to JOScan, that at the end of this you can kind of ask more questions if you have any questions on that. Looking at what manufacturing is now and some of the new features that are available now, if you're familiar with the solution, this list has gotten bigger and it's continuing to get bigger. Of course, we have parts usage, labor entry, all the things that I went over, but now you're going to see those status updates. So that is now available, and we're actually going to demo that a little bit here very shortly. But for the parts usage, some of the key features and differences when it comes to a Manufacturing 100 solution is things like being able to do negative inventory issue or negative issues, excuse me, or returning transactions. Basically, anything that's done on a work ticket that's on inside of and you're doing on the floor, we can change a lot of those processes on the fly rather than changing that work ticket inside of Sage. Again, that label entry, being able to default those activity codes or doing a department change. And then the time card, we have some customers using this, but it works for labor as well when we're doing this midnight labor clock in and clock out, where we can automatically clock you out during the midnight hours to basically help with your payroll. All right, so now we're kind of what everyone's probably excited for, to jump into a quick demo. I'm going to flip my screen, and everyone should be able to see this. So what I have up here is the dashboard, the Scanco dashboard for manufacturing, as well as the application. So I like to kind of demo it like this to show you how true real time it is, and then how everything interacts with each other. So I'm just running this on a desktop computer with a wedge scanner. I'm going to go ahead and log in. Again, everyone will have their own login credentials. I'm going to type in mine here and then my password. I'm going to select my company. And now you're going to see a bunch of icons. Those parts usage that we talked about, the make to stock, status updates, all those things that we talked about. And you actually will also see the auto issue, which we'll kind of get into a little bit later, which is a new feature coming out. I just have the latest and greatest on my system. So we're going to go ahead and go issue some parts. Now, with our solutions, we always give you three options. You can scan, you can look up, or you can type in. Obviously, we want to scan, so I'm going to go ahead and scan first. Now that I've scanned that work ticket, it's going to ask me for an item to issue to that work ticket. Right there, I scanned the incorrect item. This is because, again, we're talking to Sage in real time and we're validating what's on that work ticket. I didn't scan the right part, so I need to scan the correct part. I went ahead and scanned the correct part. It's going to now pull up a bunch of different data on that part, whether it's the transaction type, the warehouse that I'm collecting it in, the quantity on hand. But what we're really focused on now is that quantity required versus issued. So we need to issue 2 parts, but we're being asked for a lot number because I scanned a lotted item. I'm going to go ahead and do a lookup to show you that if there's a lotted item, we're going to be able to pull that inventory from Sage and see that we have 79 of lot 6223 and we have 15 on hand of 6441. Let's go ahead and select one and then issue to this work ticket. We're going to go ahead and hit this on the dashboard, and you're going to see that in real time again has been updated on the dashboard, and we can see from a manager's point of view what's going on. If I really wanted to lock it down, I could even filter out by that work ticket and see exactly what's happening with that work ticket. So again, high level visibility, real-time integration, and really easy to use. The other transaction I want to talk about is status updates. This is something that's relatively new to the Manufacturing 100 solution. So we're going to go ahead and select that status update. And again, I'm going to scan. And I'm going to look up my work ticket this time. So we'll go ahead and select this. So the difference between something like a status update and a labor transaction is now we're updating and seeing what phase that work ticket is in, rather than what job, the labor that's associated with that job. So let's assign it a status code. We'll pick QA, and we'll say done. So we're going to move over to our dashboard. And as you can see, it just populated, and it says QA worker Joe is done. So again, we're able to see what's going on. I don't have it populated here, but you can have different fields pull up as well. So if you wanted this timestamp to see when that was done, you would be able to do that also. So again, you can kind of get an idea of how simple and easy the actual application is. If you're familiar with work order scan, if you're familiar with JO scan, everything's pretty much the same. when it comes to a user's experience, except for some of the key functionalities that are different as well, and the naming convention that has happened here. So we're going to jump back in and then look into the manufacturing, what the actual new enhancements are, and then what's coming. That was kind of the end of the demo. I didn't want to demo too much for time, because I know I said this was about 15 to 20 minutes, and we're starting to hit that time zone or time period. But if you do want to set up a demo, I'll have some information after this slide. But some of the features that have just recently come out are things like that status update that I went over, and allowing purchased items, and then that overnight midnight labor splitting. These are some key features that customers have requested that we are able to add into the functionality of Manufacturing 100. Some of the features that are coming out, the two big ones are that auto issue. So we're able to auto issue all the parts to a work ticket. That is something that was in WOScan and JOScan that customers utilize, that have been asking for. And in the newest release, again, it being end of February now, so I assume it would come out next week, is going to be available. And then that auto-populate lots. I know that's something that I've worked with a lot of customers on, to be able to pull those next lot numbers inside of Sage and auto-populate them on the handheld. That is also a feature that will become standard with Manufacturing 100. So now that kind of concludes the PowerPoint and the presentation part. I know there's a lot of people on this, so I know there's a lot of questions. Again, my name is Seth Fike. I am a software specialist here, and my information is on the screen as well. I would love to kind of show everyone a demo. If you have questions, jump into a discovery. But I also have Cody Smith here, as well as I believe Darren is on to help answer any questions that were not answered in this presentation that we could help with.
Absolutely, and this is Cody speaking. And yeah, we do have a few questions here, Seth. And I'll kind of run through these. Some of them we'll be able to address today. Some we'll definitely get with you all afterward. When the first question that we have here is talking about locations. Is what location is item pulling from, and does it work with multi-bin? So I see like 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like about 5 questions here, all relating to multi-bin. So I'll kind of answer those together. Depending on if you're using job ops, Sage manufacturing, or production management, the short answer is yes, it is going to be compatible with multi-bin. We just want to make sure that the versions that you're on are going to be compatible with multi-bin along with Manufacturing 100. But the short answer, yes, this does work with our multi-bin solution for production management, as well as Sage manufacturing, or if you're a legacy job ops customer. There's also a lot of questions on the dashboard, so I'll kind of spend a little time touching on those. One question is how many staff members can be using it. As Seth mentioned, there's not really a limit on that. Once you own the dashboard, you can have that on as many PCs as you need. So that doesn't hit your Scanco user licenses, it doesn't hit your Sage user licenses. That can be on as many PCs as you need. The next question that we have here, let's see, there's a couple questions about auto issue. It says, what do we have to purchase or requirements for auto issue and auto populate? So that is going to be part of Manufacturing 100. So as long as you're on Manufacturing 100, you are going to have those new pieces. So there's nothing extra to purchase. That's just part of being current on your support and maintenance, getting access to those newest updates. And going through here, still quite a few questions coming over. Okay. Big question, is multi-bin live with production management? Multi-bin for production management is launching. I believe it is in beta right now. So the beta launch has happened, and now we're waiting for the first release. Based on what I heard, that is going to be, I believe, early next month. I want to say within the next week. Might be a little sooner than that. So keep an eye out. We'll definitely make sure that that's on all of our social media and send out an email blast for everyone so you know that's ready to go so you can get that up and going on your systems. And looks like the last question here that we're going to cover is talking about printing. We do have a printing solution called SkyPrint that does integrate into Manufacturing 100, and that's going to allow us to print labels in real time during multiple transactions. So we definitely have a lot of label options available on that. All right, so there's a question still coming in. It looks like I kind of addressed all the ones that relate to different ones. There are a couple larger questions as far as difference between production management and manufacturing. So for those questions that I didn't answer, that basically just means we need to kind of speak with you, make sure we understand exactly what the question is and that we're answering it right, because obviously we can't hear you on the webinar. So we'll definitely make sure to follow up with everyone that submitted a question that we didn't get a chance to answer. But it looks like we're good on the question, Seth.
Awesome, awesome. And as Cody said, I would definitely be happy to schedule, a 30-minute process review or call with you to go over any of these questions that have come up. It does look like Cody said, there are still questions about that certain parameter. So my contact information is up there, seth@scanco.com. Feel free to reach out to me at any time. My phone number is there as well if you want to just have a quick call. I'll be happy to help you if you're upgrading or anything that is Manufacturing 100 or current customer related. So I appreciate everyone for jumping on here. If you do have questions, again, just shoot me an email and we'll set up some time. Awesome. Thank you, everyone.